Hello, Georgia Jaguar here, stampingeorgia.com. Thanks for stopping by today. I am excited to share another fabulous idea using the none other than Frosted Floral Designer Series paper. Do you ever struggle that you're not showing all the sides of the paper? Well, I love this idea because you get to show several of the prints in one card idea. Another thing that I'm going to show you, the little bow on here. Many of us go, oh, gotta tie a bow. I'm going to show you a super easy no slide tie that you are going to use over and over again. So come on, let's get started. So here are the cards again. You get a little closer look. And by just switching the color combination, switching out the ribbon color, I turn these into rather non-traditional looking Christmas cards, but because the paper is so versatile, you could literally turn this into a congratulations card, a sympathy card, a wedding card, a birthday card, you name it. It's super versatile. So what I've started with, and this is something too that not everybody thinks of, our cards finished are 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. And by cutting your card down just by 1/4 inch in width, and I've chosen to cut my paper the long way in half, but I've cut it down to 4 by 11. You really can't tell at first glance, or unless you get your ruler out, that this card is slightly narrower than a normal A2 size card. But the reason I do it is because you're going to get that much more mileage out of your designer papers, because of course 12 is divisible by 4, and so I can cut my paper into 4-inch strips and then cut that into the lengths that I need. And so by doing this, I can really make a lot of cards out of one pack of the designer paper. And again, I love that I can see multiple prints from that pack. Ahead of time, I went ahead and embossed with our subtle embossing folder, the subtle dynamic textured impressions embossing folder. I'll just kind of show that in the light with the galvanized metallic paper. And that is going to be one of the pieces that will just give a little bit of shimmer to my card. And so that one is going to go right up at the fold. And the only reason I knew you could figure out how to put this card together, but after I did a few, and I'm doing this one for a swap when I go to On Stage next week, I found a quicker and easier way. And so I'm going to just put my adhesive on the very edges. This piece is 3 by 4. You can do the math and figure out these are a 1/2 inch. Actually, yeah, a 1/2 inch by 4. And I'm just going to barely catch the edge of that print on both sides. And I'm going to set that one aside for a second. I'm going to add the bottom one. So you're going to put your papers top and bottom first. And then what makes this super easy, I'm going to add a little bit more adhesive just because I didn't put any on the sides. Just make sure that sticks good. And then I can just lay this one over the two, and it'll slightly overlap both of them. And that way I don't have to worry about having any gaps or getting it straight, and it just sits on there perfectly. Then the next step, and I went ahead, I just made a banner out of some scrap of white and using our banner triple punch. And so what I'm going to do to add my ribbon on that, and what I call it's no slide tie or no slip tie, you might hear people refer to it. Just need an old-fashioned hole punch, and smaller is better because you won't see the hole. Then I'm going, here's how I measure my ribbon. I don't need as much as if I were tying a full bow or a double knot so that it won't come undone. Is just give yourself some tails that look like that would be enough to tie. It's really not very scientific. So what I'm going to do to start with is I'm opening my card, and if you cut your ribbon at a sharp diagonal like that, you have a nice point that you can poke through the opening. And of course, It works really good when no one is watching. And then you just leave yourself enough to tie. You're going to take that ribbon and wrap it completely around, go past the hole, and then just pull that first one off to the side a little bit so that it exposes the opening, and then poke this one through. And again, that sharp diagonal of your ribbon gives you something to poke through there. Now all I gotta do is make sure my ribbon is straight and not twisted like that. And then put one tail on either side of the ribbon. Pull it snug. And now instead of having to have a friend to use their finger or to be frustrated because the ribbon keeps slipping and sliding, it's held in place. And I only have to tie it once rather than twice, so your knot is not as thick. And it makes it easier to put in the envelope and easier for mailing. And then you can just trim your ribbon. That is how easy that is. On this one, I just did the same thing, but I used the copper trim. Use the hole, and your knot is going to cover up that hole, so even a narrower ribbon. And what I love about the copper trim, because the ties aren't very substantial, you can just spread that apart and makes it look a little bit more substantial and more visible on your card, but also that just adds that little bit of shimmer. There you have it, a quick and easy no slide tie and a fun way to show off all your designer paper prints. And remember, cut your card down to 4 inches instead of 4 1/4, and your designer paper will go a lot farther. Thanks so much for stopping by. I hope you'll give this fun technique a try.